What's up, all you cool kids? This is Daisy Collins of TsunamiRose.net coming live from my craft room here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And today I'm starting a new project. I am going to be making a junk journal out of this cinnamon graham crackers box. These are Walmart brand. I really like these. Anyways, that's all besides the point. So that's what we're going to be doing today. If you are into junk journals or junk journal related videos, please do hit that subscribe button. This is the type of project that I do here live Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For about an hour, I go live doing a little bit of a junk journal project. So today we are going to be using my newest junk journal kit, which is called Birds, Bees, and Peonies. And there's just a lot of bright blues, pinks, I should say royal blue. A lot of birds, a lot of bees, a lot of peonies, and that's the whole gist of the kit. So, and I've printed these out on coffee dyed paper. I'll go ahead and leave a link down to this kit down below so you guys can follow along if you want to with that same kit. Hello to Kristen. Hi, Patricia. Right? These are great in milk. They get all soggy and delicious. Okay, so I have this box. I'm going to go ahead and open it. Down here at the bottom. And this is the fabric that I'm going to be using on the outside of the junk journal. This is a quilted fabric piece that I made. I do have a video on how I did this, as well as I sell these pretty much the same size on my shop. So if you guys are interested, I will leave a link down to that at the end of the video as well. Ow. I just kind of cut myself. Did I? Just a little bit. Maybe don't stick your whole finger and glide it across. Just give me a little bit. Hang on. Let me go get a Band-Aid. I usually don't get her on camera. Give me 1 second. It happens. It happens. Ooh. Sir, my cat is so dramatic. Okay, guys, so that was unexpected, obviously. Let me get this little... It's like the teeniest, tiniest little cut. Okay, okay. Okay, so we're back. Don't mind me and my tiniest of little cuts. Okay, yeah, you're right. I never learn. Okay, so let me get my paper cutter because now, essentially, the book is this spine piece and the graham cracker front cover. So that is the actual junk journal. So let me get... I'm using my kind of heavy-duty paper cutter here, rotary cutter from Fiskars. This is a great tool, and I always use it when I am cutting thick materials like this. So I'm just going to cut off all these extra flaps. You can make tags out of these or punch stuff out of them. Die cut stuff if you want. This boy found a piece of paper to play with. That's great. Because then he won't ask me to open the door. I haven't tried to keep the door shut for like right now. Okay, so, but this box isn't very strong, right? So what I like to do is I'm going to reinforce it using another cereal, well, using a cereal box, I should say, just to give it double thickness because this is really thin. And I don't like when my covers bend. This just, I don't know. I don't like it. So I'm going to double up on chipboard. That's what I'm going to do. And actually, I need to measure this out. So give me 1 second. need to measure out like the pieces that I need is what I'm trying to do here. Okay. And then over here it's gonna be, I need it to be the same size of this graham cracker box, whatever this is, because I don't measure, I'm terrible, I just don't measure. Okay, so now that I know what I need to cut that out, but I still need to cut out the flaps. Okay, so second, this kind of turns into a lot of trash. I have always kind of kept cereal boxes around, but sometimes it's too many. Like I'll tell my mom to keep cereal boxes for me, you know, boxes in general, and she will. She's awesome. Sometimes she just like keeps doing it, and I'm like, okay, that's enough, and she keeps doing it. Okay. So I think one of these is gonna have to be the spine piece. So let me cut it this way instead. This might have to be the spine. I don't know if that's thick enough. Yeah, that's good. Okay, good. So that'll be the spine piece. And I'm just cutting up the pieces. You guys, I need to go to IKEA. I don't know if anybody else gets as excited about IKEA as me. I need to go. I always go. If I have to pick out one piece of furniture, it will take me like 2 months or something. That would be perfect for a tag right here. It's perfect shape right here for a tag. It'll take me months trying to decide what it is that I want to do. Okay, I need to cut it down just a bit more. I don't measure, so that's why I always have to like cut stuff down. I refuse to measure, you guys. I always eyeball everything. Okay, come on now. Now you're not being funny anymore. It's going to have to be within the confines of this cover here, so it doesn't have to be exactly. It has to be a tiny bit less wide. Because it does fold. So see, it's still too wide, so you make it a little bit less wide. Just another sliver, and I just try it out. Okay, see, that's good enough. Just small enough. Okay, perfect. So let me get this the same size as this. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. So this is one way to kind of reinforce a cereal box, you know, to do 2 layers of chipboard. I've done it before with and without, and I really prefer it with. So that's just okay. There we go. It needs, I don't know why it's either I'm cutting it crooked or it's just slightly crooked. Okay. Now, so I have the 2 sides. Good. And now I need the spine. So let me just figure this out here where this needs to be. I'm going to cut it right there. We'll figure out how tall later. We're doing this step by step here. Does Vegas have IKEA? Yeah, we have one IKEA. We got it not too long ago. Probably only been like I would say less than 5 years we've had an IKEA. I'm pretty sure it's been, oh, the spine's a little bit too short. But you know what? That's okay. I'll live. I will live. If the spine is too small, that's fine. Because it's not going to be, at that point, it's not going to be bendy, which is what I care about. Top layer will look fine, so it'll be okay. And so I like to go to IKEA. So when I furnished I bought like a couch, I bought a bed, I bought desks, and what else did I buy? Couch, bed, desk. I guess that's it. I guess those are my major purchases from IKEA like 2 years ago. 3 years ago now, I guess. And it took me a while. Like, I did the measurements of my house. Let me get some sandpaper. Where do I even have sandpaper? Oh my goodness. Okay, here it is. And so I did the whole online thing where you get you measure out your room, and I need to scrape the part with the paint off a little bit so that it has a place to hold with the glue that I'm going to use. And you don't have to do too much of it, but the paint kind of makes the glue slip, I should say. So I did the online thing, planning with IKEA, that I would go there and look at the actual furniture that I planned with. And sometimes I would change my mind. It takes me a while. If I'm going to spend some money, it's going to take me a while to think about what it is that I want exactly. Because I'm the type of person that regrets everything all the time. I'm terrible. Okay, so I like to scratch everything that has paint on it, or everything that's printed on. Probably not good for this board, but that's what I think about that. Okay, so get that. Let's do this fine. Just lightly. And this is just sandpaper that I got probably at the dollar store. It's not. So I don't know what kind of grit it is specifically. Okay, stretch this all up. Little cut. This cat is like having the time of his life with a piece of paper. Okay, so I got dust all over me. Let's try and get that dust off. Okay. So now that we are all scraped up, now we got to glue these pieces here together. Look at the fabric cut up later. Let me get my glue. Oh, and I need my brush, of course. Okay, so here what I have is what we're going to be using as an adhesive to glue our fabric to the cover. Is we're going to be using the stuff called HeatnBond Lite. Now, HeatnBond Lite comes on this roll of like this sheeting of the sheet, plastic sheet here, and so this is no longer there's no longer any adhesive on this paper. So you'd normally throw this away, but I like to use it on projects like this where I have to glue, and I'm going to get glue everywhere. So this I can just toss away after that, or you could also clean the glue right off. Okay, so what we need to do is first we need to adhere these flaps to the actual graham cracker box. And I'm using Eileen's Turbo Tacky Glue to get pretty much my whole journal done. I don't really stray away from Turbo Tacky Glue. It's just my favorite. And I'm also going to be using one of these beauty brushes. They are like silicone beauty brushes is what they're called online. And I ordered these off Amazon. I think I got like a set of 4 to 6. I can't remember how many I got for, like probably $10 or less. I can't remember how much I got them for. So let's see what people are saying because I have not looked up at all. Love Dollar Tree sandpaper. Lasts a while. Yes, it does. And a Paper Possum says she's never been to IKEA. I love IKEA, you guys. IKEA is the best. Isn't it going to be beautiful, Patricia? I am so in love with my crazy quilts. I gotta keep using them up. Okay, so let's get this glued on. I'm gonna glue this side down, the side with the print. And these are actually meant for like masks on your face, you know, when you do like a beauty mask on your face. That's what they are for, but I really prefer them when I have to use a large amount of glue. I used to use brushes. I used to use foam brushes. I've used all kinds of brushes, and this is kind of the best glue. I mean, the best way to apply the glue that I've been able to find for this specific method of doing journals, which I love it. It works out really, really good because it doesn't absorb the glue. It moves it around, which is what exactly I needed to do. I need the glue to move and go to where I need it to be. So, getting out all the way to the edges. Now, I am going to avoid that whole area right there and glue this onto the inside. And you want to make sure that your journal is still able to bend, that it's not going to obstruct the bending of the cover. Very important. And there's a little part here that's a little bit bigger. We're going to go ahead and sand that down in a minute. It's okay. You just want to make sure the cover edges here make contact. Make sure. Okay. See, now that is nice and thick. I like that. That's good. Okay. So now let's do the next one. And then we're also going to do the inside of it. But you know what I need? I need something to help me kind of get this down because I can see it kind of puckering in the middle. So I'm just gonna, what is this called? A bayer, I think this is called. Yeah, I'm just gonna bayer this here and make sure it's kind of puckering and now it's not. So that is great. There we go. Good. Okay. So now, as I was saying, we're gonna do the next side. Get all this stuff off my desk. Okay. Let me get a paper towel. 1 second. I could use another piece of HeatnBond, but I'm just gonna wipe it down. If I had a baby wipe, which I know I do somewhere, I'd use a baby wipe, but I just have this dry paper towel. Just gonna smudge off the glue that I put on the last piece of cardboard or chipboard or whatever it's called. Okay, we're back. So now we got this piece. We gotta glue back. We gotta glue on. Brayer. Brayer. There we go. Is there an IKEA in case? There is an IKEA in KC and in St. Louis, but not down in Branson. They're really picky, you guys, with where they put an IKEA. My goodness. I mean, I've known LA to have one forever. We did not have one for the longest time. I'm telling you, just in the last 5 years, we got an IKEA. So I don't know how big the city has to be. I literally had to leave the state if I wanted to go to an IKEA before. I'd never even been to an IKEA. I used to see it in LA, like on my way to my hometown. But I would never stop because I'm like, oh, still have to get to my hometown. I'm not stopping in LA per se. So I never even got to go to one until they built one here. And I was so excited. I was so excited when they built one here. So excited. It just like coincidentally was like around the time I needed to move and buy my own furniture for once. Because I've been like using my parents' like furniture for the longest time. My parents' old furniture, which is, it's fine. I just don't like to spend money. I'm so cheap. But I was like, you know what? I want to spend some money. I want to actually get my own sets of furniture. would be nice. So me and my husband, we splurged. But like I said, I pretty much picked everything out. He didn't really have much of a say. But everything turned out well. I love the IKEA furniture that we do have. And that's why I want to go back, because I need to find a dresser or some sort of, I don't know, some sort of storage to go behind me underneath the window that I have behind me, because my cat likes to sit up on the window. So that's why I'm looking for it to be exactly the size of my, as high as my window is. So now I've got to go on the hunt. I got to go make sure that they have what I like and that I like it. Because I change my mind so much, you guys. I'm terrible. I am the worst at making decisions. Especially when they cost more than $100. I'm going to sit there and think about it for a while. A good while. You're not going to rush me to make $100 or more purchase. I'm not going to lie. It takes me a while to depart with more than that, unless it's a bill. And I have to. Okay. So that is all good. The edges here could use a little bit more glue maybe. But we are going to cover them, so it's not like they're going to be exposed. So that's okay. So now let's do the spine. Gotta do the spine piece. That's the last thing we gotta do. What did I do to that paper towel? Ew, look at this big old this big old glue piece. Oh, it's terrible. Okay. And it bounces back. So the glue. I don't have my baby wipes handy. Oh well. Okay. So let's do the spine now. Make sure, yeah, that's the same. Okay, yeah. Just want to triple check that I can still fold it, you know, with the spine piece there. And I cannot. So I need to cut a sliver of it off. Good thing I didn't put it down. Gotta always triple check yourself, especially if you're like me and you don't measure anything. Just check yourself. Okay, so let me cut off just a sliver. Literally a sliver. Okay, putting that down. So now that is good. Now it closes. Now I can, that's good. Okay. So this is a nice and reinforced piece of chipboard here. And you kind of want to make sure you work it so that it's nice and straight and it doesn't fold in like that. You might even want to have this laying down flat underneath something heavy for like the day or the night. I would definitely recommend that. But we're just going to move it along and we're going to keep working on this project. But normally I would stop here and let this rest and let it dry before I went on to the next part. But let me make sure to do this part as well with the glue. Okay. There's still a while till I'm going to actually work with the cover again, because I do have to do the fabric inside and the fabric outside, and that does take a while. So I will not be working. I'm going to go lay this piece down underneath. I don't know, I think I have a pile of potatoes I can put it underneath so that it kind of flattens down a little bit. Okay, let's see. Getting glue around. Again, this brush is great for moving glue. It doesn't absorb it because it's silicone. There we go. So I did not cut the spine piece exactly to size, but that's not important. I just wanted to make sure that it has that thickness so it doesn't fold on me. It's not soft, so that's what's important to me. Oh, hey, Stephanie. Oh, no, you're good. I'm only half an hour in. Hello. Okay. So there we have the reinforced box. It's nice and thick. Like I said, 2 cereal boxes here, basically. 2 cereal boxes thick. And that should keep your journal from being soft, basically, is what I'm trying to avoid here. If you need to, sometimes there's a little piece that's a little bit bigger than the cover. You just take your sandpaper and just sand it down till it's all even. Just a little bit right here. Okay, so now that we have the cover all done, we move on to the next part, which is for the fabric of the cover. So the fabric of the cover is going to be my quilted piece here that I have. And so what I need to do is I need to see whereabouts I'm going to, what fabric I'm going to use, basically, what part of the fabric here I'm going to use. So I think I just want to use this part right here. And the rest I will probably cut off. So let me get, okay, so normal people have like giant rulers. I'm using, this is for my Sizzix, and it's just a really, really long piece of plastic, which is essentially a big old ruler. So I want to cut this fabric here to have a nice, healthy 1/2 to 1 inch border around the cover. Again, I'm just eyeballing this. You could be responsible and measure. And of course, you could cut with scissors. You could also just kind of pull and fray it if you wanted to. If you're just using regular fabric. However, I am using my pretty quilted fabric here. And so I need to be a little bit more careful, and I need to use my cutting mat and my rotary cutter. I can't just, if it was one piece of fabric, I would just rip it apart. But like I said, let's give this a nice healthy border. Okay. So now that is the fabric piece that we are going to use for the cover, which is, like I said, it has about a 1/2 inch border all the way around. So now we need to cut the inside of the border, inside of the cover, which I'm going to use this beautiful fabric. I think it looks really pretty with the pages. I think any page that is first is going to look very beautiful with the fabric. I think it just goes with the overall feel of the junk journal. Also, if it is featured in the cover right here, it's going to have a piece of this fabric as well. So I think that would look really cute. So that's what we're doing today. So the inside cover piece is going to have to be actually smaller than this cover, just slightly smaller, like literally 1/4 of an inch smaller, or less than that. So I actually want to cut it just the size of this cover so that later on I can cut it up smaller. I love the disgust in your voice as you say you could be responsible. Ugh, he could be one of those people. He could be one of those weirdo people. Okay. Now we're serious. We're serious. It's serious business now, ladies. Okay, again, I want it to be about the size of the cover. I'm not trying to waste HeatnBond, you guys. That's the whole point, is I'm not trying to waste HeatnBond. So I'm trying to cut these almost exactly to the size that they need to be. So that way I don't have to waste any of my precious HeatnBond. Just coming up next. Okay, so just about the size of the cover. And here's what I mean when I would just rip it if it was one solid piece of fabric. Okay, unlike the actual cover. Okay, so we got that out of the way. This piece is, yep, just about the size of the cover. This piece is about 1/2 inch larger than the cover all the way around. And so we got our 2 pieces. So now what we need to do is we need to turn these fabric pieces into paper. So in order to do that, let me go ahead and lay, you see it's like wanting to bend because the glue is wet and like that. So let me go ahead and stick this underneath a heavy box. So one moment, that box is not heavy. That box is not heavy either. Why is no boxes I have now heavy? Thought I had heavy boxes. Okay, here's one. Maybe, I don't know. I'll look at it later. Okay, so next what we're gonna need is this stuff called HeatnBond. I love this stuff. This stuff is great. This is HeatnBond Lite to be specific. It is purple. They have another HeatnBond that is red. The spine is fairly wide. Yes, so it's about 2.5 inches wide. Because I like to put I usually put 2 signatures in a journal, and my embellishments make everything fluffy. So 2 inches is just 2.5 inches is just enough for 2 signatures for me. That's just me. I stick a lot of stuff in the journals. Okay, so this is what I get at Walmart. I bought it last night. It's like $8 for 5.25 yards. I don't know why they give you that 0.25, I guess. So that's a really odd measurement. So let me go ahead and open this up because it's the first time I'm working with this one. How exciting. There is a red one. This one's the purple one. The difference is that the red HeatnBond is for no sew, not sewing on it. You still can. You can do zigzag and straight stitch on the red one. This one, however, is sewable. So you can do nice intricate stitches and it won't gunk up your machine. You won't have any problems. The red one, like I said, you can still stitch on it, but something about the actual HeatnBond of it does not allow for the sewing machine to properly do stitches. So I do plan on sewing on the cover as well as the inside cover. So I am going to go ahead and use the HeatnBond Lite. They actually cost exactly the same. And basically what this is like this says right here, it is iron-on adhesive. So it's iron-on adhesive. Basically, there's a glue layer on top of this plastic backing, which I've told you. After you use the glue on here, you're left with 5.25 yards of this paper. So you need to do something with it. Sometimes I just throw it away, I'm not gonna lie, but most of the times I save it. You can paint on it, you can get glue on it, you can reuse the same piece over and over. It'll save your desk, you guys. So make sure you save the planet and at least reuse it a couple times. So I need to glue my cover onto this here. Basically is what we're doing, basically. So I need to cut this piece to the size of this cover. I'm not trying to make it bigger than the cover. Just if I can get it to the same exact size that I cut this piece, that would be great. And it does feel a little bit like fabric when you're cutting this material because your scissors will glide across unless there's fibers like that piece right there. Or you can just cut it like that. And then you'll have different little odd pieces like this left over as well. And some of them don't say HeatnBond Lite, so you could just write HB Lite. Because like I said, I use both, the red one and the light. So this way I can differentiate what they are when I use them later. And I do use those scraps later on for different products. Okay, so we got this piece the way it needs to be. let's cut this inside cover the way it needs to be. Okay, so and we have this piece right here. Let's get it on. Okay, get my scissors. And I just try and glide across. It's the best way to get this as straight as possible. Oops. Okay, so now I'm going to roll this and put this away. So I have all the pieces I want. Okay, and so like I said right here, I'm going to go ahead and label this HeatnBond Lite, so that way I know. Okay, this is also the way that I made my last junk journals, which are made from fabric and cardstock. So I went ahead and I glued this fabric to cardstock instead of what we're going to do, which let's go on to the next step. Get everything out of my way. And underneath here, I have an ironing pad for my desk. Let me go ahead and plug in my iron because, like I said, it is iron-on adhesive, so we have to iron it on. So let me plug it in. And I put this on the highest setting. Okay, sorry, my plug is underneath my desk. Okay, so now I'm going to iron on this adhesive onto this fabric, and in order to avoid getting adhesive on my iron or my ironing pad, I am going to use another piece of HeatnBond. Like I said, I saved these. So I'm going to use a piece of HeatnBond to iron, to kind of sandwich it between the other HeatnBond and the fabric. So that way, if there is glue, it glues onto the HeatnBond, and that's already what it's meant for. And it kind of just like repels the glue off of itself, so you can use it over and over. So let's get this piece of fabric here covered, and my iron is waiting to get to, I'll put it to the highest setting. And this is just a regular iron. There's no water in it. So just so you know, I'm not using any water with this technique here. And let me see what everybody's saying here. Shelma says she is lurking and working. Happy New Year's, Adhesive. Hi, nice to see you, girl. Nice to see you, baby B. Hello, how are you? If you are here, let us know. Say hi. I should have made sure I was ironing on the right side of the fabric. Okay, good. So what you want to do is you want to iron the adhesive to the back, the wrong side of the fabric. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's what I was afraid I wasn't doing. But I am, so that's all gravy. And what you want to do, my only tip, or one of my tips for the HeatnBond is that you do not slide your iron around. You want to pick it up and you want to place it. You do not want to glide your iron around, because what you're doing is melting the glue down and it turns into a liquid essentially. And if you glide your iron around, it will glide around the backing of the HeatnBond. So just so you guys know, just so you know. Yes, Happy New Year's all around, you guys. Crafting on a budget. Hey, girl, what's up? Welcome, you guys. I'm so happy everybody's here. This is the start of a new year, new project. Haven't finished my old ones. Don't care. Whatever. Moving on. I still have to list all of the 23 junk journals, and I was like, I finally have time today. But I kind of don't. I'm going to go see my mom right after my husband gets home. And there goes my whole night, you know. I just know it's gonna happen, so I just gotta wait and get that done. Probably either tonight. I always say tonight, And then I go to bed early because I'm sleepy. I'm terrible. I'm so terrible. I get tired at night. How dare I? Okay, so now this piece of fabric is perfectly adhered to the HeatnBond. And what I need to do is I need to cool down this piece of HeatnBond here. I'm just going to wave it around so it cools down. And then once it's cooled down, you can just literally just rub the glue off that I told you might stick to your iron or to your ironing pad. You just take the glue off. You could also use, you could also use wax paper or baking sheets. One of the two. Is it baking sheets? It's wax paper. Parchment paper, sorry. You can use parchment paper instead of HeatnBond. Say it's your first time opening up the roll of HeatnBond and you don't have anything to avoid the glue scenario I was telling you about. You can use parchment paper. So that will work for that as well. Okay, so now let's glue the quilted fabric here to the HeatnBond. I just want to make sure all the fabric is covered by HeatnBond because the piece of HeatnBond should have been slightly larger than the piece of fabric. So you make sure that you're all covered by HeatnBond. So let's go ahead and do this. I have a mess on my table. I just got some laces and here I am starting. That sounds fun. I have a mess surrounding my little workstation. This is pretty much the only space I have clear right here in front of me. The rest of my table, you don't want to see. It's a mess. I should definitely clean, but here I am. Here I am not cleaning, starting a new project. Yay! It just happens. It happens to everybody, you guys. Oh my God. Christy James, hello. This fabric is beautiful. This is actually a bed sheet. Crafty Irina sent me. It's a huge, she took half of it and I still have so much of it. And I just adore that fabric. I've included it in so many projects. I've even included it in these quilting projects. I love that fabric. It's beautiful. Again, don't do what I just did, which is wiggle it around. You want to place it and you want to leave it there for like 30 seconds. You really don't want to leave it longer than 30 seconds. So leave it on there for 30 seconds, grab it and move it. And you can kind of tell when your fabric adheres to it because it's no longer, you can see the fabric through the back of it is what I'm trying to say. Carol says, hi from Australia, hot here today. It's early Saturday morning. Oh my God, that stuff that is happening in Australia with your fires. Oh my goodness, what is happening? But I'm glad you're okay, girl. I'm glad you're having a good day. Okay, so now we have that done. Let me set it off to the side so it cools down a little bit. What we have to do next is we have to peel this fabric off of the HeatnBond. And this is where we find out if we actually adhered the glue, which we did. Okay, good. Great. So this is the paper that I'm telling you you're left with. You're left with 5.5 yards of this. So like I said, we need to find a better way to use this stuff other than, I found one way. So now you see you have your fabric and it has this really shiny side. And then there's the fabric side. So the really shiny side, that is your glue. That is now all over your fabric. So what we need to do is get some, let me get some of this. Is called packing paper. Now you could use tissue paper if that's all you have, but I do suggest that if you are going to use this technique in the future, that you get yourself packing paper. Packing paper is a lot less transparent than tissue paper, which is a lot better for my personal projects because I tend to use kind of like, you see this very light fabric, white fabric. And if you do that, your box, which in my case is this really royal blue, will show through the fabric. So if you use tissue paper, you'll have to paint your box. If you use packing paper, it's very opaque and you don't have to go that extra step. So just so you guys know that that is an option for you guys. Make sure there's no glue. You can literally feel the glue on this paper. You can just scratch it off with your hand, rub it off. Either way, like I said, you could feel the glue and you just take it off. That way it doesn't stick to your current project. We're good here. Okay. So now we are going to glue the fabric with the shiny side down. Shiny side needs to be down because that's the glue. So that's what we're gluing down to the paper. And then I'm going to use this piece of HeatnBond with the actual shiny side down. And we are going to adhere this fabric to this piece of paper. Now, we might have to leave the iron on for a little bit longer. I might have to do one go at it this way and one go at it going the other way where I'm actually directly on the glue side of the fabric. You have to do both sometimes. You have to make sure. Journey of Crafting says I use masking paper. I don't, for what? Masking paper? I don't know what that is. I've never heard of masking paper. Masking paper? I don't know. I've never heard of that. Oh, Crafting on a Budget makes amazing journals. I'll have to check her out. I will have to go there. And right here, actually, you could glide it up and down because you're working on paper and not this plastic. So let me correct myself just so you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do one round on the back of it where I'm directly on the glue instead of going through a layer of fabric and then this HeatnBond paper. I'm directly on the glue now. And again, don't leave your iron on too long. It will burn your paper. It will, like right here, I kind of just burnt it. You see how it like turned a little bit yellow? It happens. It's happened to me before. So this is essentially, again, you can see how the pattern is starting to show through the paper. That's because the glue has adhered. So that is how you can tell, you know, as a physical way that you can tell that you've actually gotten the glue to grab a hold of the fabric. Again, I am on the highest setting of my iron, on the hottest setting of my iron. I'm on linen, and I'm not using any paper. So just in case you guys are wondering, I'm not using any paper. I mean, any water. I'm not spraying this down with any water whatsoever. Okay, so that is that piece right there. That piece of fabric is now a piece of paper, basically. So what we got to do next is we got to do the quilted one, and then we're going to get the cover together, you guys. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm getting the glue off this paper so I can use it again. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing to our quilted piece of fabric here, which again is in my store under the mystery box section. I'll leave a link at the end under the description box of this video. I really enjoy making these quilted pieces, and I don't make quilts. I literally make these to use them for junk journal covers and sometimes the spine, and sometimes I'll use them on the inside of the journal. I do a bunch of stuff with this. So, and I'm like a newbie sewer, so if I can do it, you guys should really try this crazy quilting. It's really, really cool. Okay, so now I'm trying to, let me get this thing shot. Let me get all the action. Get all the action over here. Thank you, Aristi. You can find it. Oh, is that the like painter's paper that like you roll on the floor? Is that what you mean? Like it's almost like butcher paper. Okay, so now that I have a bunch of you guys here, I am still looking for design team members. So if you guys are, if you guys can work with printables, if you guys can print stuff out on your own, if you guys already make junk journals on YouTube, I am looking for a little bit more experienced YouTubers who have a minimum of 250 followers. If you do, please go ahead and send me a message on my Facebook. I'll leave the link down below. Journey of Crafting says it's very thin, but not nearly as thin as tissue paper. Okay, this is not nearly as thin as tissue paper. I'll have to look for it next time I go to the hardware. So again, I'm just trying to get the heat on here. Let me get the heat on the other side. Make sure I didn't get glue on here, because if I did, I'll be upset to get glue on my fabric. I could also grab another piece of HeatnBond, but we're okay. We're good. Okay. So we're working with the fabric right here. Again, I'm trying to protect my mat. So let's get this adhered on here. Where do we sign up for designing? Message me on Facebook, Crafting on a Budget. At least see if you can post my Facebook link, which is facebook.com/TsunamiRose. That's my Facebook link. If we're not friends, send me a friend request so I don't miss your message. That would make me very sad. Yes, let me get my keyboard. Okay. Of course, don't burn your project. Don't do it. Don't burn your project. Where's my mouse? Oh God, it's like hidden. It's very hidden. I'm trying to post my link to my Facebook, which is Facebook. Why is it not typing? Because it's off. Facebook.com. TsunamiRose. I'm burning my project, y'all. I am burning my project. Okay, this should be good enough. Let's just double check that it is good enough. So you can see my iron right here. That's what happens. Okay, so now we're good. So now we are done with the iron. Let's turn it off. Let's get it away from us so we don't burn ourselves. So 1 second. Okay, you guys, so now that we have this, now that we've done this whole thing right here, we need to cut them out. So let me just get my good old scissors here, and I'm just going to cut it out. Again, you could use tissue paper if you're in a pinch, but I really, really suggest that you get this packing paper. I got this at Walmart. It's next to the moving supplies. It's next to the bubble wrap. It's next to the shipping supplies as well, I believe, if I'm not wrong. And it's just really well worth, I think it's like $4 or something. It's just really well worth it if you're going to make a lot of journals using this technique, which I do. This is really the only technique that I use to make my junk journals. It's the easiest. I've been doing it the longest. And it really just works for me. Okay. So now, let me finish this off here. And we can move on to the last step of the day before I log off. And we gotta let the journal dry pretty much at the next point. This right here, it might need a little bit more ironing. Okay, which I can do. I'm gonna grab my iron before it cools down a little bit too much, because right here, it just needs a little bit more heat. Now my iron is not even plugged in, but it should still be enough to melt the glue just right here in particular. I must have just missed that. Okay, we're good. We are good, you guys. Okay, that works. So, cut the rest of it here. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to actually cover our book with this here. Again, we've turned this piece of fabric into a piece of paper. This isn't this pretty, this quilted piece that I made. Let me get my cover. I put it underneath something else. I'm trying to pull something out of a box and it's not there, so that won't work, will it? Okay, here it is. Here's my cover. I put it underneath a box so that it wouldn't bow. It wouldn't bend here, but we're about to get it glued all over the place, so it's gonna do that again. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get this glued on here. Right here, you can decide if you wanted to do any sort of sewing. You would do that about this time right here. So let me figure it out. I might want to do a little bit of sewing on this. Trying to figure out where the spine is going to be so I can sew on the spine. What we're going to do here is we are going to basically trace out where I'm going to lay this down when I'm going to glue on it, when I'm going to glue it down. And then here I need to know where the spine is, because I want to do some sort of sewing where the spine is. So make sure you connect these so I know that's where the spine is going to go. And that's where the spine is going to go. Of course, this is totally extra, and you definitely don't have to do this at all. At all. No, you don't. I'm just being super extra here. And I like to sew on my stuff. That's just me. And this is a pencil, so I could definitely erase it, which is why I'm working with it here. Okay. Let's get this straight here. Again, just very lightly on the outside cover. I just want it very lightly. Very lightly. Okay. Okay, so now I know where I can sew. Let me get all this stuff out the way. Okay, so again, this is why specifically I'm using this HeatnBond. So that way I could do this here. I could sew. So let me, I don't know why I feel like right now I don't know what I'm doing. So let me just try on a little test sheet. Let me get a scrap of paper. There's the scrap of paper. Here's a scrap of paper. I'm just going to make sure that I know what direction I need to sew this in. I want to do You know what I would want to do? I would want to do some stars and a scallop, you guys. Surprise! I want to do stars and a scallop. I know, not very surprising at all. So I can do stars all along here. They'll be on the spine, and on the inside cover, I want the scallop. So let me do the stars first. So I want the stars to be, oh, and I'm using my Project Runway Limited Edition CE1125 PRW sewing machine, which I did see at Walmart yesterday when I went. So in case you were wondering, they're still at Walmart. They're like $100 and what are they? Like $139, $140, something like that. So let's get, and it has 100 stitches. I really only use like 10 of them, but they're really, really cute. So let's get this project going here. These are like embroidery on the stitches. And like I've said, you guys, you don't have to do this. I just like to be super extra with my junk journals. And this is one way I do it. And of course, this is for the outside cover right here. So that's why I'm like kind of embroidering on it. Kind of making it a little bit fancy because it's going to be on the outside of the cover. Okay. So now, kind of messed it up there. I don't know. Sometimes it's the sewing machine. Sometimes it's the HeatnBond. It happens. Let's do that again. Oop, my string came off. Hang on. String, my thread. Goodness. My thread. Okay, so hang on. Oh my goodness, I hate when the thread cuts and there's like a tiny little thread inside of the thread. Or maybe that just happens with this thread. Okay. Okay, now we can start. And I make sure I use the same kind of border for this line here. That way they're nice and even for once. Maybe I'm going too fast. I don't know. I wanted to do the stars properly. It might also be the HeatnBond, no lie. Sometimes it doesn't agree with all the stitches, but it will do the stitches. Maybe I was going too fast. Maybe I should have slowed it down. I had this machine and loved it. I took it in for maintenance and repair, and they messed it up and loaned it to someone, and they totally messed it. What? That sounds crazy. What? That's not cool. This machine is great. I haven't know how to take it in for maintenance yet. I don't even know how much that would cost. I don't know. That sounds crazy though. Okay, we're all done here. All done with the stars. Okay, that looks great. Now what I want to do is do a little scallop on the inside. So let me just pick the scallop that I want, which is on this machine, which is number 65. And I think I'm going to use default stuff on it. So let me just make sure that if I'm going to the right, I just want to make sure how it does the scallops. Okay. Okay, so if the line is off to the right, it does the scallop going to the right. So I would want it to be opposite, right? So if I want it to go this way, then I would want, hang on you guys, it's gonna take me a minute to figure out. I want it to be this way then, right? Hang on. And if it's off to the right, okay, okay. It's off to the right of it, like this way. This here. I need to do, otherwise I will not remember what I just did. I have to draw myself diagrams, you guys. Okay. I think I get it now. Before I do it on my actual cover. This is what I want to do basically. So I want it to be this way. Okay. I'm quiet because I'm concentrating. I'm trying to keep this straight here. To service it and clean it, since I use it mainly for paper, was not a lot, but when I loaned it out, they damaged the digital panel. What? That's insane. That's just crazy though. Okay, we'll see what this looks like in a minute. I know you can't exactly see what I'm even doing, but it looks cute, I swear. I swear. I'm trying not to make it go fast, because that's when it messes up. I know that now. Okay. So that is how that stitch looks like. And now I'm going to do the stitch going this way. And that is just going to look beautiful on the spine. It's a little bit off, but you know what? That's okay. Okay, so now I want to go the other way. Yes. So, trying to figure this out. Okay. This goes this way. Isn't it beautiful? I love adding this to journals. And I wasn't sure what thread to use, and I'm really glad I used this one. I really was not sure what color to use. But since the journal kit has this really pretty royal blue, pink, red theme, I thought I should do this in blue. So I'm just holding it in place while it does its little stitching and goes along. Just trying to make sure that the border is correct on the left side. We are almost done. Yay. Okay. So here is our fancy cover. It's going to have this beautiful piece here on the spine. If I can align it correctly. Okay, so we have our outside cover here. And we're going to lay it down. We need to glue it on. So now again, this is a piece of paper. So now we need to glue it on like it was a piece of paper. So let's get my, just want to make sure that I get the glue in between these stitches because that's very important. Otherwise it might come loose in between these stitches. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this aside for 1 second. And where is my brush? My table's a mess. Where's my brush? Okay, so my brush has disappeared. I'm laughing because it's not funny, you guys. Let me grab another one. Wait, here it is. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, here it is. Okay, found it. So I like to use a silicone brush because I always forget to take the glue off. My traditional brushes and my foam brushes always get messed up because I always forget to take the glue off. So now I like to use silicone brushes because I can just flake off the glue or paint, and that's great for me. That's wonderful. Okay, so let's get this glued on to this fabric piece. I'm just gonna put glue everywhere. Probably too much glue. I don't know. Put, should I tell you to put like 1 tablespoon of glue? Maybe that'll be helpful information. Again, I use the silicone brush. It just moves the glue where you need it to be. It doesn't absorb the glue, so you don't have to keep adding glue. I used to, like I said, I used to use sponge brushes and regular brushes to do this, and they just don't work. This works for me. This is where it's at for me. And again, my favorite glue, Turbo Tacky glue. I use it for decorating as well as making the cover, as you can see here. It is really the only glue that I really ever actually use, besides a tiny bit of what's it called? What is it called? Glue stick. I use a glue stick here and there because I need something just like slightly glued down, not entirely, and I don't want it to be too wet. I'll use that for like book paper projects specifically. Okay, so let's get this all here. Spread the glue. Does the best job at it, I'm telling you. Okay. So we got the glue all the way to the edges. Very important. This step, you definitely want glue everywhere. And I should have spread the glue on this as well. Hang on. Hang on. I can also fold this in half, and now I can use the back of it. Haha. So here I just want to get the glue on the stitches. Just want to make sure they got glue on their own. And now let's glue the cover on. Now, like I said, you're definitely going to want to let this project rest because it needs to rest. There's a lot of glue here and it's very wet and you're using chipboard. So it just really needs a lot of time to rest and settle and dry, basically. You really need this to dry very good. So I got my little brayer. Somebody told me it was called a brayer. Now I'm so much smarter for knowing. You just want to make sure that the glue is really on there. Real nice. all the way up to the edges and such. And this brayer is used to having glue on there, so I'm not even really worried about it. Okay, you guys, so that's not good here. The way that I did the stitches in order to keep them right in the perfectly aligned on my actual cover, I kind of messed up this edge right here. So this is not going to be done correctly because I messed up. Okay, that's fine. It's still okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to make small slits here on the edge, on the corner. However, right here, I'm going to have to kind of, I don't know, kind of wiggle it into place, I should say. Gotta get all of this glued. Everything's got to be glued down. We are going to see what we're going to do with that because I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do with that. I guess it's got just enough. It has just enough to work. Okay, so let's get this glued on here. Oh, and what you don't want to do is I kind of cut a little bit of a slit here where it's actually going to fold. Just the smallest sign of a slit, of like a V shape cut out right where the folds are going to be, because it kind of bulks up there too in the little corner, and I don't like that, so I cut off those little corners right there. So now let's get the glue everywhere. Finding the glue out. Perfect. Let's get this here. Okay. Again, because this is chipboard, you are going to want to let this rest under, say, something heavy. You definitely want to put this under something heavy so that it's nice and flat for you tomorrow. I'm gonna keep working on this tomorrow. So just so you guys know, I'm going to lay it under something heavy and something flat. So I might sit on it. I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's get this corner in. I just saved my butt just enough right there in that corner. Ooh, that would have been ugly. Oh no, it's the other corner I'm worried about. Okay, so now we're folding this in. This little corner doesn't have enough glue here, so let's get some glue on it. Okay, we gotta make sure. So now let's do this side. See, now this piece of HeatnBond is all covered in glue, so I can't really use it anymore. I'm gonna set it aside, grab another piece. You will literally never run out of HeatnBond as long as you use it. So keep on using it, you guys. I love this stuff. Like, it's great. I know they have craft mats, but this is like the best craft mat, really. You could use it over and over if you wanted to. I don't, but you could. Let's see, I did the cutout there, but it's a little small. I'm not going to do the cutout there. It's a little bit too small to do, so that's fine. Let's get this down here. This is kind of, I don't know why this is so difficult to get down. It's proving itself to be difficult. Okay. Okay, we're sliding it, slightly getting there. Needs more glue. If you need more glue, add more glue, you guys, because you really want this to be, you know what I mean, snatched. You want this to be nice and pulled. Okay, so that looks good. Okay. Okay, so now the last part here. Oops, my alarm went off, sorry. Usually y'all don't hear that because I'm usually off by 3 o'clock, but we are getting this first part done anyways. So now we've got this inside part done. Just, ooh, that corner right there is literally just good enough. And make sure it's nice and flat. My fabric here, because it's kind of close to the edge, I'm going to glue down the fabric itself. Because this is quilted, so there's a lot of kind of like pockets and folds of the fabric itself. And sometimes they don't want to glue down. That happens. Okay. So here's my cover. Again, I want to put this under something heavy, something very flat that will like leave it flat, and because it's glue and it's wet and it's chipboard, it's gonna bend on you. So definitely put this under something heavy. Now this piece right here, which is the inside piece, I'm gonna work on it really fast because it's already an hour and a half into the video, but I'm kind of excited to do this. I just have to measure with, and I don't have a measuring, what did I do to my ruler? I don't even know what I did to my ruler. It's somewhere. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. Hang on. I need it. This glue on my hand is driving me crazy. It always does, so. Tia was nice enough to send me some baby wipes, and they just get the glue right off your fingers. It's great. Okay. So now this part right here, this is kind of important that it is the right size. So I'm a little bit nervous about it. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to cut it to the correct size of this journal. And then we'll size it from there. Because it's literally supposed to be a sliver smaller than the journal cover. And I really don't have that much to go here. So let me just make sure that it is the size of the cover here. I don't want to make another one. And I want to make sure that this is nice and straight. And the way I'm going to do that is using my awesome Fiskars rotary cutter here. And I'm also going to use a piece of cardstock. So let me get a piece of cardstock. Okay, so here's a piece of cardstock, and this is what I'm going to use to help me cut this, because I've cut this on its own and it's not, it doesn't cut. It's a little bit too thin, or I don't know what it is. It's a little bit too thin. So we got to make sure to give it a little bit of sturdiness, which is what this chipboard is doing, or this cardstock is doing. Just adding a little bit of basically resistance to the cutter. This piece is slightly too long to actually cut. So, give me 1 second while I figure this out. I usually cut it in half, actually. I fold it in half. Okay, that's what I do, is I fold it in half. Where it's literally perfectly in half. This part needs to be cut. This part is not even. So let's make this even. I'm just cutting off a sliver. A sliver. I want it to be straight. That's my problem. That's ultimately my problem. Okay, so now it can be folded in half so that I can get the sides even. Right there. My boning folder. And cardstock, of course. Can't forget the cardstock. And this is supposed to be even. Is this not straight? What's not straight here? Let's see, you guys. What just happened? Let's see. Straight. Hang on. Hang on. I need to make these even because if they're not even. Okay. So now that they're even. Now we can make this even. And this will probably be the size that we need it to be because I just need it to be just slightly smaller than what it was. So literally just evening out the edges here. Okay, so let's see if this piece, because like I said, this piece needed to be smaller than the cover. Not by much, but just slightly smaller. And it looks like it's still too wide, so let's narrow it down. Still a little bit more. Let's get this. Which side was okay? Was this? Okay, so let's get this cut down just a sliver more. Okay. I laugh at random times. Sorry. Okay, this is perfect. Again, you want it. Oh, it's still too wide there. Still too wide. So more. Let's do a little bit less wide then again. Again, this is why I start out bigger and then you can narrow it down. It's a lot better than getting it exactly the right size and then guess what? It's too small. Okay, so this is good size right here for the cover. I think it's crooked though. I think that's my problem. Hang on. We're going to do this another way so I make sure it's even and straight. Otherwise, it's going to drive me crazy, you guys, that it looks crooked. I think it does. It is. Okay, so let me get this straight here. Because it's slightly crooked. You can see the bend. You can see the bend. Okay. Hang on, this is going to drive me crazy. Is it really that crooked? Maybe. So I did fold it in half. Maybe that didn't work as well as I thought it would. Okay, well then that's why we check here. That's why we quadruple. What are we on the 5th check now? Okay, and make sure it's even, Steven. Let's see. It can't be that uneven. Okay, there we go. What I should have done the first time. Okay, now it is good. It is good. It is good. So now it's the right size that it needs to be. I think I need a... No, this is good. This is good. So what we need to do now is I need to stitch all the way around the fabric, and that is it for the first step of making this journal. Maybe it would have been easier if I measured. Probably. Am I going to do it? Probably not. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just a regular zigzag stitch all the way around this. I'm just going to leave it at default numbers, and then that is it, you guys, for this part. And I will see you guys tomorrow here for the second part. And you can see me struggle some more. Just for fun, though. Just for fun. But using this method with the fabric and the HeatnBond, it really opens you up to a lot of possibilities. I like to use HeatnBond paper mix to do things like these projects right here, which is the fabric HeatnBond on a little card. And it just basically turns your fabric into paper that you can use with your projects. And again, this is the HeatnBond Lite. and I can tell because I did all these cute little stitches on it. You cannot do with the HeatnBond Ultra Hold. So just so you know. Just so you know. I didn't know I was that much not in the shot. My bad. And I just like to seal the edges here so nothing frays. Okay. So tomorrow, you guys, make sure you join me at the same time as today at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we are going to get our little craft on. Oh, wait, tomorrow's Saturday. I'll be here Monday then. We'll get a little craft on Monday. We'll get started with the signatures on Monday. I forgot today was Friday. Again, I'm going to be using my newest kit with it, which is the Birds, Bees, and Peonies junk journal kit. These are the pages that I'm going to include inside the journal. I have printed these out on coffee dyed paper, so they might look a little bit more brown and beige and dulled out than they normally would print out, but the color is still really nice and bright. As you can see, a lot of blues. That's why I decided to use that thread right there. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me on part 1 of this junk journal, making a junk journal out of a graham cracker box. And I will see you guys here tomorrow for our, on Monday for some more fun. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys here on Monday. Bye.